Yo, holy smokes, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC video. I'm your host Jose Rocks, and today we're going to be getting into our world's predictions. So we do a video like this every year. This year I want to do it just slightly a little bit different, where I'm going to be predicting as well who is going to win worlds, or at least I'm going to give you guys who I think can make it into the top four. So I'm going to give you top four, and it'd be amazing that all four of them make top four, but we want to try to at least get one of them to the top four, so we'll see how we do with our prediction, right? So this is going to be the 2025 Worlds prediction. We're going to first start off with a couple of restricted duos that I think that could win the championship, and I'm going to pick 4 of those as well, and then we're going to attach those 4s to different players, right? We'll try to predict what the players that we predict to make the top 4. We'll try to predict what they're gonna bring to the tournament, right? And we're just gonna see how close we give these predictions. So if I get any of them right, I hope you guys reference back to this video to say, oh, you had that right, they did bring that, or they did win, or they did get top 4, or this did make top 4, right? So that's what we kind of want to do. So I want to look at some restricted duos that I'm gonna give you 5 duos I think can do really well, and we're gonna pick which one I think could win worlds, right? Right, so we do want to start with the most common one. It's probably going to be Karak Shadow plus Zamazenta. So we already know what this duo does. It's very consistent. The only thing is that these players have to really have their game plans down packed against opposing Karak Shadow and Zamazenta. But I think it's a duo that can do really well, right? So it is very impressive. It's very strong. It is good into pretty much all the other restricted duos. It gives you like a pretty good matchup into all the other duos. The only thing is that it suffers when it's playing against itself because it becomes kind of like a prediction based game, and you really don't want to get caught up in those type of games with this team. But if you do build your team in a way that can support these two very well, then I think that you can have a lot of success. I know a lot of people are running the Dark Terror, Nasty Plot, Astral Barrage set on Calyrex, and some are even running like Imprison on Zamazenta. I don't think you can afford to run Imprison in a World Championship because you really... Oh, sorry, the music stopped playing. Let me see. Sorry about that. So I really don't think that you can afford to not run Protect if you're gonna drop Protect, or not run like a Steel type attack, right? Because you want to Imprison Body Press. You have to run Imprison, then you want to Imprison Wide Guard, which is one of the main things that stops opposing Zamazenta for Wide Guarding your teammates. So you either have to drop Heavy Slam or you have to drop Protect, and I think that's very hard to do in like a Worlds format when both of those can be key. You can just lose the game because you could have protected to stall out like a Tailwind or a Trick Room, but you didn't have it, or even stop like a turn 1 Fake Out, double up into Zamazenta. Or like you may need Heavy Slam because you're in an end game and all you need to do is just hit Calyrex or a Ghost type just one time, but you can't hit them because you only have a Fighting type attack and they're immune to it, right? So I think you can't afford to run that, but Calyrex can also run like Life Orb. I think the most consistent set is going to be Focus Sash. A lot of people like to run Ghost Terror with it, but you can like experiment with this as well. You don't always have to run Ghost Terror. But Ghost Terror Astral Barrage, especially with like helping hand support from like an Incineroar, it just does so much damage, and it's a really consistent strategy. I personally think that this is the way that you should run Karak Shadow right now, because when you run the Life Orb set, you run the risk of, even though it's open team sheet, you run the risk of just getting one shot by, just a bad call, you choosing not to Terror reading your opponent, them going for a knockoff or something like that. Even though you can see the dark type attacks coming, a lot of people like to play risky in front of it because they expect you to Terror and you probably kind of hold your Terror. Sometimes they just straight up attack you, right? So I do think that Focus Sash is one of the best items for it, but I do see, people running Safety Goggles, people running Life Orb. I've even seen like Covert Cloak, so you can get around the Snarl stuff, which is really good too. The Covert Cloak works very well with the Clefairy, like Incineroar, like double Fake Out teams with Redirection. And also like the leftovers on that set works as well, and a lot of those times you'll see like Fairy Terror with Draining Kiss on those type of sets. All right, so the next restricted duo that I want to talk about is going to be Maridon. And who else do we got? I want to say Marida because I want to say Marida Lunala. We know that this has been good since the beginning of the format. Lunala does play in a lot of ways like Zamazenta as far as offering the support, but while it's good into ghost type, Zamazenta is not. And the only thing Zamazenta offers you, it doesn't offer Trick Room like Lunala does, so they both do a little bit of different things. Zamazenta also offers you, it's not, you don't have to always tear it, right? It's not in jeopardy of getting one shot. Whereas Lunala, especially if the Shadow Shield is broken, is, high jeopardy if you're getting one shot, right? So Lunala is more so of a terror hog, and that's the kind of downside to it of using Zamazenta. But the upside is that it gets Trick Room, right? So using like Choice Scarf and Maridon with this set, like it's just really fun. It offers you like your opponent doesn't want to set up Tailwind because you have Lunala, but then the Maridon just outspeeds everything, right? And this makes it very hard to deal with. So it's a really good duo, and they kind of like to be paired with like Ursaluna, so that you could punish your opponent for not respecting Lunala setting up Trick Room, and like just vote switch out into Ursaluna, and then you're just in a really good spot from that point. So I expect this duo to do really well at the Worlds too. This is, like I said, one of the top 5 duos. We're gonna try to mix it up just a little bit, make sure that we don't reuse a similar duo. But I think this duo, at the start of Regulation I, it won a tournament. It's still really good, and I still think Lunala is one of the best support restricteds if you're gonna use it in that way. All right, so next we're gonna have, let's get into Karidon. So Karidon is probably most likely gonna be paired. I've seen it paired a lot with Kali Shadow and Terapagos, but I think that Terapagos is just, I think with it being so weak to Rillaboom, I don't think we're gonna see too much Terapagos at the World Championship, and nothing else really pairs well with it on a high level that I can think of besides Karak Shadow, right? But this duo is very strong. Karidon is, capable of one-shotting so many things, and Incineroar likes to tear into Ghost to get around, getting one shot by Karidon, and then it just loses to Karak Shadow, right? So Incineroar doesn't like to be in front of this duo because it puts it in a really precarious situation where you tear, you knocked out, you don't tear, you're still knocked out, right? So they synergize really well. The one thing is that Calyrex almost always runs Focus Sash with this mod, because you don't really want to tear your Calyrex unless you have to get the extra damage output, because Karidon is kind of a terror hog because it's weak to a lot of common things in the format. Things like a stray fairy type attack, ice type attacks, dragon type attacks, flying type attacks, like all these things hit it for super effective, right? So you want to make sure that you have that terror, even though if it's fire, it's kind of predictable. It still just keeps you safe in front of a lot of the common, moves that are hit this for super effective damage. And if you're not one-shotting Karidon, it's almost always doing a massive amount of damage back to you. So that's one thing to note about this duo. But I do think this duo is pretty strong too. I think it can win, but I don't know if Karidon is going to be able to pull it off because it's such a terror hog. And I think the best teams offer like flexibility to tear anything, any game. And Karidon is kind of one of those. It's similar to Terapagos where you almost always want to tear it. And when you're doing that, you're kind of like, condensing your game plan so that your opponent doesn't really have, your opponent has, more options into you and you have less options into them. So that's the only thing about that. It is a really strong duo, but I don't know if I can see it winning. All right, so I want to talk about, do I want to talk about Kyogre? Because Kyogre has the origin post, right? It can miss. Kyogre can miss, right? And I think that people are going to probably drop it for more consistency. Yeah, I think they're going to drop it. Because it's just so tough. It's so tough to use it. So another duo I want to talk about is Zamazenta and Marida. Where are we at? Now this duo is super good. Zamazenta for the same reasons that we spoke about before, but Justin Tang used this duo really well. I think was it Justin Tang? Yeah, I think it was Justin Tang, but either Justin Tang. I think it was at NAIC or something. But this duo, it impressed me. Every time I play against it, this offers a lot of different options. You can run Choice Scarf Maridon, you can run Assault Vest Maridon, you can run Choice Specs. I just feel like it gives you a lot of answers to a lot of the field. It gives you good physical damage, gives you good special damage, and gives you wide guard, gives you terrain control against Among Us. It offers so much utility as well as like really good consistent offense. And you can kind of pair these two with any of the non-restricted mons, and you're going to be able to find success. Like Chien-Pao fits here, Chi-Yu fits here if you want to boost the Miraidon's damage output. Urshifu fits here, Amoonguss fits here. Even though you are running, you know, electric terrain, Amoonguss is still good for redirection. And against opposing Trick Room teams, if you don't want to have your Miraidon out, then your Amoonguss can really help you against those Trick Room teams, right? Amoonguss Zamazenta is a really strong duo into Trick Room teams, right? Because you have Wide Guard. Calyrex is not doing much damage with high horsepower, especially you can redirect it or put it to sleep with the Amoonguss. So it's a really good duo in that aspect. And this, I feel like Zamazenta Marida is like the most consistent duo in Regulation I, in my opinion, because it's really not prone to getting cheesed. You can really see like super effective attacks coming into Miraidon, and it won't get knocked out usually by just a stray, unless it's like, you know, ground terror Zacian with Terra Blast. Like, but you need to, if you're in front of Zacian, you just want to play smarter, right? So you can see that coming. And I really do want to pick Zacian to, you know, be here, but I can't really put it in my top 5. I do think that we'll see it maybe with Kyogre in the World Championship, but I don't want to put it in my top 5 as, you know, the mons I think can win the championship. But the duo that I think is gonna win the championship, has the best odds to, is actually going to be we're gonna go Miraidon one more time, but this time it's gonna be paired with Calyrex Ice Rider. And the reason I want to pair it with this, because for the same reason that Miraidon Lunala works, I think that Calyrex Ice Rider and Miraidon works just better, because while Lunala is more of a support to pair along Miraidon, Calyrex is actually a sweeper on the Trick Room. So you could also still pair, you know, Ursaluna with this team, but, you know, having Miraidon outside of Trick Room dealing massive amounts of damage, having Calyrex in Trick Room dealing massive amounts of damage, it's just so hard for your opponent to switch into, right? And if you think about the things that Miraidon doesn't like to see, is grass types, Rillaboom, ground types, Landorus, those type of mons, or ground terras, grass terras. Calyrex punishes all those terras immediately, right? Especially if you lead them both. They can't safely, like, you know, terra into something to resist, you know, the Miraidon, or be immune to the Miraidon and not get punished by the Calyrex, right? And same thing on the vice versa. You know, Calyrex really doesn't like to go up against like water types, like Kyogre and stuff like that. They resist the ice type coverage. Miraidon just punishes water terrors, right? Because it hits them super effective. And even, you know, fire types and steel types, if you have something like an Urshifu on this team with them, or the Miraidon still hits them for good damage, right? So they're still not safe, because Electro Drift is still doing massive amounts of damage to them, and to the point where Glacial Lance can still, you know, pick up KOs from that point. So this duo is, I think this is not the most consistent, right? Because Calyrex does have a lot more counterplay to it with Miraidon than the Zamazenta Marida does. That's why I think Zamazenta Marida is more consistent. But as far as the strongest restricted duo, I think that is these two, because of how well they cover each other's weaknesses, how well they can, you know, both play on their respective sides of the speed spectrum, how, you know, you can also make your Miraidon kind of slower and bulky, and then play it on a Trick Room team with Calyrex. You can build the team around Miraidon and Calyrex will still thrive. You can build a team around Calyrex and Miraidon will still thrive. So it's a really good duo. There's a plethora of different ways that you could run these two. You can even run like the Leech Seed set with leftovers, a bulky Calyrex, or like Screens Grimmsnarl. And that team is really hard to deal with, because you deal a lot of damage back to your opponent, and you're not taking a lot of damage back yourself. So I think that Miraidon Calyrex Ice is a really strong duo. It's a lot of fun ways to play it. If you guys know, I participated in the St. Jude tournament. I used this duo, and I had a lot of fun with it. I used mine on a Weezing Dozo team, though, where I was like Ability Shield Miraidon with, I believe it was leftovers Calyrex, if I'm not mistaken. But it was like the Leech Seed set Calyrex, and it just was really fun to use Miraidon next to Weezing and still get your terrain up and turn off other abilities, which made Miraidon super strong. But it was really fun to play with that team. But this is the duo that I think is going to win Worlds. So let me know in the comment below what you guys think. Who would you guys pick as your duo to win Worlds? That does mean Miraidon is going to win his second World Championship, and Calyrex may get his first. But I do think that Calyrex is overdue for one, since he didn't get in Sword and Shield. That was Zacian and Calyrex Shadow. And Miraidon got the first one here, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if Calyrex and Koraidon pulled off the upset, since they don't have rings or a championship. You know, they don't have a championship, and they are the two last restricted to be released. I guess you still got Eternatus and Terrapagos too, that are like the third restricteds that didn't get it. But I do think that, you know, Calyrex is overdue for one, and I think that this might be the year for it. All right, but that's gonna be pretty much our predictions. So let me know what you guys think about this. Now let's get into the top 4 players that I think that we're gonna see, or at least one of them are gonna make. I think that these 4 can win worlds. One of them can win worlds, and I think that at least one of them is gonna make top 4. But it'd be dope if all of them make top 4. So we're gonna start with Justin Tang. I think Justin Tang has been on a hot streak lately, especially when he first got into the scene. He won the first 2 regionals, got first place, right? So he's always been on the tear. He won a regional earlier this year using a really cool Tailwind plus Trick Room mode with Karak's Ice and Roaring Moon, and that team was really cool in Regulation G. So I think that he has a lot of spice that he's cooking up. I think that he's gonna go back to his roots and play with Karak's Ice in this format. So if I had to guess, I think he's gonna go Kali Ice. I was gonna say Zamazenta, but I think he probably wants to play Trick Room with like a Tailwind mode. I think he's gonna play Karak's Ice Maridon. Or would he play Maridon with it? And this, like I said, this is not based off anything but a gut feeling that I think he's gonna bring this. But I could be wrong. But I don't really see anything else that really wants to pair with Karak's Ice. I mean, you could go Kyogre, but I don't know if Tang wants to use Kyogre, right? Because other than Kyogre, who else do you pair with Karak's Ice? Some people use Lunala, but those are kind of niche. Koraidon is a little bit niche because you're doubling down on the physical spectrum. I think Karak's Ice best partner is probably going to be the Maridon. I could see him bringing this, right? I could definitely see him bringing this. So I think Tang is going to bring the duo that I think is going to win Worlds. Like I said, any of the top 4 that I pick, I believe that they can win. And I'm just also going to try to pick, a duo that I think that they're going to bring. So we're going to go with this. Tang is going to bring Karak's Ice and Maridon. So make sure you guys reference back to this video if I got it right, just to see if he makes top 4 or if he brings this duo, right? So we got 2 chances to get it right on that one. So next we're going to go Joe. I think for sure Joe is going to bring Maridon. He loves to play with it. He usually has like the Volcarona teams. I don't know if he likes Karak's Ice because he usually doesn't like to play Trick Room, right? So if I had to guess with Joe, I think Joe is probably going to go Zamazenta Maridon because it's just really consistent. Joe likes to play consistent, and he really, has gotten really good with Maridon. And Yveltal's not in the game, right? Because if it was Yveltal, he'd probably go like Yveltal Koraidon because he loves Sun and he loves Yveltal, right? Because I don't know if you risk Groudon in this format. Groudon was really good with Dynamax because you can Dynamax it and it's like super hard to remove, and you can just go like Iron Head or Precipice Blades, and that'll turn into Max Steel Spike and Max Quake. And with an Assault Vest, it just makes Groudon like super tanky, right? But we don't have that right now, so I don't think he would bring the Precipice Blades to the World Championship just to miss. So I think he would have went with Koraidon, Yveltal if they had it, but since they don't, I think he's gonna use Zamazenta Maridon. So let me know with a comment below what you guys think about that. And if you think he's gonna probably bring something else, let me know. I'm not sure what he's bringing. He has been using a lot of different teams in the format. He has been using a lot of Kyogre teams too. But I've seen him like just kind of lose some games with Kyogre, and he wasn't happy about it just because it missed a origin post or something like that. So with that like lingering in his mind, I don't think he's probably gonna bring Kyogre. But he has featured a lot of cool teams on his channel recently. All right, so next we got Marco Silva. Marco Silva, this is going to be interesting, right? Because he did just do well at NAIC where he lost to Fetty Campo. I don't know if he's going to bring that same team. He could, right? I think he's going to bring Zamazenta. Is he going to bring Zamazenta? I want to say Zamazenta Maridon too, but for the sake of upping the chances of just making it more variety, I'm not gonna pick that duo. We'll pick something else. I don't think he's gonna bring Sun. He's known for Sun in Regulation H, right? So Sun would be interesting. Actually, I think he's gonna bring Karak Shadow plus Zamazenta. I think he's gonna go for it. I think he's probably feel like he's gonna be like one of the best players to use it. I could try to guess Maridon, but I think he's gonna bring Karak Shadow plus Zamazenta. That's just my guess. I think he feels comfortable with this duo. I think that he's gonna give it a try. I believe that he did use it at NAIC if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the restricted duo he used because it was a couple months ago. I know he had Zamazenta, right? And he had like Ogre Pond stuff. I think it was Karak Shadow, but I think this is the duo he's gonna bring. I think this duo excels on the highest level when you have somebody that can pilot it really well, and I'm interested to see how he builds his team to counter the mirror matchup, right? Because like I said, you're not gonna want to bring in Prison to Worlds. So I'll be shocked if someone brings it, but you can do it, right? But you're just playing with like fire when Zamazenta gets into a situation where you can't click heavy slam or protect, and you're gonna just always wish that you were running that instead of in Prison, because when you are doing a Prison, you are wasting a turn to lock up the board state for Zamazenta, and if your opponent is not clicking something that you are able to imprison, then they kind of just get like a free attack into you, right? And this team doesn't really like to take free damage. It likes to knock out your opponent's mons before they can really have an opportunity to react, and that's literally like the epitome of what Karak Shadow does. But this is what I think that Marco Silva is going to bring, and I also think that Marco Silva has the potential to win the World Championship, just like Joe and Justin Tang. So we'll see if he's able to get top 4 and see if we got it right. Last but not least, we know we got to go with one of our channel favorites, Wolf Glick. So Wolf Glick, we know he was known for using the Karon, right? I think he brought Lunala to NAIC, and he didn't have a lot of success with it. Fun note, I did go to NAIC as my first tournament as well and competed, and I got the same record as Wolfie. We both went 5-3, was eliminated in day 1. But I know that was, for his standard, that's not great, because he wants to make day 2 at everything that he does. So I understand that he probably underachieved, but I kind of felt like I overachieved with 5-3 because that was my first tournament ever, and I was going up against a lot of great players, right? So I do think that Wolfie is going to bring Karan. Now, what I do think he's going to bring now is to up the scale on Lunala, and he's probably going to go with Karak Shadow. He did bring Karak Shadow to Worlds last year, I believe. Yeah, he brought Karak Shadow. He did very well day 1, and then he kind of like just tumbled off in day 2. I think it was like undefeated in day 1, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he was on a generational run. Like, we thought that he was going to win Worlds last year. So I'm going to be covering Worlds this year as well. So I'm going to be dropping some videos here and there, just to keep you guys in the loop and let you know what's happening throughout the day, right? But I do think that Karan and Karak Shadow is going to be the duo that he brings, because Karan has won him a regional championship. He knows how to use it so well. It does, you know, like I said, it does have the thing where it's able to get one shot by like fairy type attacks. But I think Wolfie knows how to play with this mon in a way to where he can get in his opponent's head. And I also think he's probably going to play the Focus Sash Calyrex just so he can always tear Karan if he needs it. I wouldn't be surprised if he went for the Triple Crown, trying to get a regional win, international win, and a world championship in the same season, and did it all using Paris Trap. This is the time for him to do it, right? Like, he won Paris Trap. He used Paris Trap with Polytoad to win Polytoad and Gothitail to win a Regulation H tournament. And then he also won a Regulation G tournament with Karan and Screamtail as the Paris Trap user, right? With Gothitail as well. So he's done it, and he's done it on each level with a regional and international. So why not try it again to win it with Worlds? And he'll be the first player ever to, you know, do the Triple Crown, where he gets all 3 major wins in one season, a regional or international and a world championship. And also, in case it is done again, he'll be the only person to have done it all 3 using Paris Trap, right? Which is his signature strategy. So I think that is a good time to try it. I mean, why not? You already won 2 with it. Why not try to go forward with 3? People may be like, oh, he's not going to bring Paris Trap to a double restricted format. But they thought he wouldn't bring it to a single restricted format with Urshifu and stuff like that, right? And he found out a way how to neutralize Urshifu with the sun, and also Gothitail keeps the people from switching in their reign to kind of punish, like, you know, when they lead bad into Karan, so it can just, you know, pick up KOs, and he can Paris Trap. So it was a really cool adaptation, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's been working on some type of Paris Trap adaptation to finally get his 2nd World Championship and do it using his favorite strategy, and also do it for the 3rd time this season at a different type of tournament. So I think that'll just be like, you know, a beautiful thing, and, you know, I hope he's able to do it. If he does bring Paris Trap, I'm literally rooting for him to win, because I just want to see it happen. I want to see somebody win 3 different times on 3 different levels with Paris Trap, and also get the Triple Crown. So I think Marco Silva also has the opportunity to get a Triple Crown, if I'm not mistaken, because he won a regional and he won an international. So we'll see if either one of them are able to do it. But we're rooting for Wolf. He's one of my favorite, you know, people to watch. He's very entertaining. I watch all his YouTube videos. He's one of the people, him along with Cybertron, Zang, and of course like Joe Ugarte, that got me into, you know, competitive and watching, and the way that I learned how to play was pretty much watching how they play. And that's why I like my play style. I like to kind of mirrors a lot of what the stuff they do. That's why I'm not the strongest trick on player, even though I play it sometimes, but I'm more so of a hyper offense or a balanced type player where I give my teams a lot of options to where you can win the game even if you're from behind, right? And it's kind of like the way that Cybertron, Wolfie, and Joe Ugarte. Well, Joe Ugarte is a little bit more offensive, but Wolfie and Cybertron like to kind of have balanced teams that play from behind, or just teams that have really good mons that give them a lot of options to everything, right? So let me know what you guys think. If you guys think that, you know, Wolfie's going to bring this duo, if you think that he might bring something else. I know some people might have got his team leaked, or they may have already seen what he may be bringing already, but this is just what I think that he's going to bring, right? So let me know what you guys think about this top 4. We'll see if any of them can make the top 4. If they do, then we at least got one right, and then we'll see if any of these 4 bring these duos, right? So they'll be ones to watch for this tournament. But I had a lot of fun doing this. Let me know with a comment what you guys think about the World Championships. It is going to be taking place tomorrow. It is now 8/14, August 14th, and it'll be taking place tomorrow on the 15th, right, which is Friday. So we're going to go ahead and push this video out, and we'll see how it does. But thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoy the World Championship. But like I said, stay tuned. More new videos soon. Deuces.